Right now, we're going to do radio together again, and this time we're going to go to Abuja, where at the upper chamber of the National Assembly, we've been getting stories. I don't know I don't know how to explain those stories. But the upper chamber has been trending on social media, and the question they have been asking on social media has been, is it a house of corruption? And I want you and I to examine all of these stories and come up with an answer. Where do I start from? So yesterday, during the big stories, yesterday's edition, we talked and we mentioned Senator Abdul Ningi, who is, I think, from Bauchi State, who over the weekend came out with a revelation that 3.7 trillion naira is believed to have not been appropriated for, and the money is now being spent, or has been spent, or somewhere being spent, and that has caused the nation to go into some kind of is it chaotic situation, so to say, because yesterday at plenary and even the day before, there was uproar at the upper chamber. The Senate president had something to say about the image, and we mentioned it yesterday, the image of the Senate being impacted negatively. We saw Senator Opiemi, who, by the way, is arguing that all of these things happening, the revelations by Abdul Ningi, is an attempt to assassinate the character or malign the person of the Senate president, because there is a move to impeach him. And he even says before June, is it June? I think he gave a date, I can't remember exactly the date, but before that time, that they would have attempted, the northern senators would have attempted to remove Senator Godswill Akpabio, Senate president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's Senator Opiemi. I think he's from Ekiti State, senator from Ekiti State. However, Senator Jarigbe yesterday, I think from Cross Rivers State, mentioned that I'm wondering why we're making this a big deal. Now, the person in charge of the appropriation committee has explained, and by the way, I don't know if you've seen that explanation. He has explained that the 3.7 billion naira or trillion naira that is believed to have not been appropriated for can be found under the judiciary, the National Assembly, and GOEs. I've been trying to research what GOEs stands for. I don't know. Is it government enterprises? I'm wondering. But the 3.7 trillion naira falls under these categories. And I heard Senator Jarigbe at plenary saying that it was not captured in the budget that was sent to the lawmakers to deliberate on. And maybe that's where the problem started from. And that he was hoping that the senators would let the matter rest, given that they have now gotten an explanation that, this is where the mistake was from. It was an oversight. Which, by the way, I don't know what you make of that explanation, that, the monies were appropriated in a certain structure, but not shown to the legislator while they were looking at the bills and all of that stuff. Anyways, that's another conversation. So he explained and said, see, if we go by corruption, we're all guilty. We're all guilty because we've been given money for constituency projects, and some of you got 500, some of you got 200. Oh my. Maybe we should read some of the articles. I had this sound bite, but for the want of time, I would let that sound bite rest. So which one am I reading first? Let's look at the allegation by Senator Abdul Ningi, who, by the way, has been suspended. He was suspended yesterday. We talked about it on the show. This morning, he resigned as the chairman, Northern Senators. He resigned his position as the chairman, Northern Senators. But look at what caused the problem. So, on Tuesday, while defending his budget padding allegation on the floor of the Senate, the Senator, Abdul Ningi, said, We discovered some senatorial districts in this document have up to 120 billion naira, and my senatorial district has just 1.2 billion naira. Mr. President, in this budget presented to you, I have facts. Constituency by constituency, some 120 billion naira, some 50 billion naira, some 30 billion naira, some have less than 1 billion naira. Mr. President, as I speak to you, I don't know your take-home pay. You know my own. I don't know the take-home pay of any of the other principal officers. Mr. President, or my president, I know within budgetary provisions you made available funds for purchase of cars. Mr. President, I don't know how much you made for your car and principal officers. I know how much was made for individual senators' cars. As I speak to you, people are calling me names. I didn't receive a single car. All within the budget provisions, Mr. President. I have, as a matter of fact, 5 aides, just like other senators, but I don't know how many aides you have or how many the Deputy Senate President has. So, first line of thought for me is, everybody listening to me right now has got a representative at the Senate. Have you seen any constituency projects? For those of you in the 23 LGAs and all of the constituencies, how many constituencies we have? I think about 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have 3 constituencies in Rivers State. How many of you have seen? How many of you have seen the projects from the senators? I mean, I'm seeing monies flying. You know, some have 50. Some it sounds like the parable of the talents in the Bible. Some have 120 billion, some have 50 billion. I'm not talking about million now. I'm talking, why do we even need constituency projects to be done by legislators? Correct me if I'm wrong. Legislators are saddled with the responsibility of legislating, check and balancing the executive arm of government, and what again? Basically representing the people, you and I. And I wonder if representing the people means embarking on projects, because that is the work of the executive. The constitution is clear on that one. Anyways, but we now know, according to the revelation made by Senator Ningi, now suspended, how much they get for constituency projects. So just in case the senator visits your constituency asking for your project. But let's move on now to the other. Let's look at what Jarigbe said. So he's the lawmaker representing Cross River North Senatorial District, Senator Agom Jarigbe, and he said that I'm looking for it. Sorry. Now, speaking on the matter, Jarigbe, who appeared on Arise TV on Wednesday, said the controversial 3.7 trillion naira was later discovered to have been captured under the GOE's Judiciary National Assembly. Now, according to him, Ningi should not have gone to the press to disseminate the alleged pardon in the budget. Now, he said the noble senators that decided to investigate the budget and even got a consultant to look at it, they probably decided to do that before Senator Ningi, who is the leader of that forum, took it up. I don't think it was necessary for them to do that and even go to the press. I think it would have been brought to the floor of the Senate to be discussed in our executive section. You discovered that when the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation explained the situation, the 3.7 trillion was discovered to have been captured under the GOE's Judiciary and National Assemblies. Those were in the first line charge. It was like an optical illusion. 3.7 trillion naira was a fallacy. If it was brought to the floor of the Senate, the controversy would have been explained. I don't know if that explanation makes sense to you. You know, the senator on appropriation, the committee appropriation, or appropriation committee, if that explanation makes sense to you. But let's quickly look at this other one, where it says that they are trying to impeach the Senate President, and that's coming from the Ekiti legislator, saying the northern governors are not comfortable with a southern leader in the National Assembly or the Senate, and they're looking at removing that. I know we play tribe with everything political, right? But what do you make of that as well? But then budget is saying that he thinks Ningi's revelation may be true. Now, according to Daily Trust, a civic organization focused on the Nigerian budget and public data budget has thrown its weight behind suspended Senator Abdul Ningi on a 3.7 trillion naira gap in the 2024 budget presented to the National Assembly. Now, the director and co-founder of budget, Shehu Onigbinde, made this known during an interview with Channels Television today, stressing that Ningi was right if he posited that there was no detailed allocation of 3.7 trillion naira in the 2024 budget. Now, remember, budget is one organization, can I call it that looks at the various budgets of government, whether at the national level, the states level, or even sometimes the local government levels. Now, they have come out to say that there is no detail. Now, remember, Jarigbe said that we should have just done it in-house. There was no need for us to take our dirty linens to the public. We should have done our laundry in-house, spread our, undies in-house, and solved our problem. We could have done that at the executive section. And now budget is saying, hey, there is no detailed response. There is no detailed explanation, rather, as to how these monies are spent or were budgeted for. Anyways, moving on. Senator Shehu Sani on Twitter also had, or rather now X, also had something to say about this. and he said that when you're in the Senate, and like my guest said not so long ago, my guest at the previous conversation, you observe table manners when you're eating. And he recounted the story of when he was eating, and he spoke about how much senators earn, and he almost choked because he did not observe table manners. Now, suspension in the Senate means a senator will not be allowed to attend the plenary and will be prohibited from attending committee meetings and participating in oversight functions. His salary, allowances, and all entitlements will be blocked. He will not have access to his office and is expected not to be seen within the premises of the National Assembly until the suspension is lifted. When I publicly disclosed the salaries and running cost of lawmakers, it was the then Senate President who saved me from suspension. If you talk too much, your body could tell you. That is why even opposition no fit oppose too much. And that's, Shehu Sani, senator, or former senator, representing, one of the constituencies in Kaduna. He was representing one of the constituencies in Kaduna. Now, he also said, there's a follow-up tweet where he said, constitutionally, all senators are equal, but in the Senate, all senators are not equal. Some are more equal than others. All senators know this, and every senator is expected to obey, and the law is no be everything I see mouth fit talkam. Now remember Jarigbe's statement, we could have discussed this in house. Anyways, when we come back from the break, I'll tell you more, and I'll open the phone lines and you and I will discuss. To stay tuned.
The question is not why South Africa,
Senate. And the question, House of Corruption. I mean, I've listed these things for you. I've listed the various statements made by the various senators. Some of them even admitted to some level of corruption in the Senate. I did not say it. I don't have the right to say it. I'm just reporting what they have said. So, what's your take? What's your take? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. I like to hear your take on that one. Like I said, I think the last part I stopped, I was trying to remember why I stopped before the break. I was telling you about what Onigbinde, the co-founder of Budget, was saying, that there was no detailed breakdown of how 3.7 trillion, not billion, not million, not thousands, trillion, 3.7 trillion naira is being spent, how it's been spent. Nobody's saying anything about that. All right, to the phone lines once again, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. I'd like to get your thoughts. And then WhatsApp 0809030616. I am looking for the sound bite. I'm still looking for the sound, but I want to play it. Where one of the senators was admitting to collecting the constituency money, and he said they're all guilty of one corruption or the other. So what do you make of this? House of Corruption? That's the question I'm asking. Daniel, remember, let's keep it constructive. My question could be seen as a figure of speech. So let's keep it constructive. We're talking for development and not for destruction, or not to bring down a personality. Daniel Transamadi, welcome. What is on your mind?
Kalada, good evening.
I greet you.
House of Corruption, if you ask me.
I'm asking you.
For me, I think I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Every institution of the government in Nigeria is filled with corruption.
Okay. From
executive to judiciary to lawmakers. In fact, what we champion in this country is corruption.
Okay.
And this is as a result of the people who say they want to be leader in Nigeria. So what the Senate is doing? Senate is representing Nigeria as an institution, which is corruption. We are just so corrupt in this country. 3.7 trillion Canada. And there is something that is considered in Nigeria. Budget pardon. We had this in another Tarakivu. And today we are having it again. That is lines of corruption. That has been the only thing that is consistent. When you see politicians championing tribalism, you will think they love you as a tribe. They didn't. The only thing they can, when they come to just as the senator have tried to put Tabariko on it, is just to take away the attention of the people.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, all of them knew exactly what they were doing. They're not crying for the bad economy. You have run a budget that will run a country for which they have a better economy. The same budget is filled with corruption. They say it's filled with corruption. The question this evening, which way in Nigeria?
Which way?
Which way in this country? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Daniel. I've got Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Thank you very much, Kalada.
Yeah.
The tag is very funny.
I'm not the one who said it. For instance, Jarigbe said, if we want to go into this issue, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million naira each. I'm a ranking senator. I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. We don't have to go into these issues. So I'm not the one who said, they are culpable or corrupt. I mean,
I've been following up the tweet of Cho Sani,
okay,
a former senator.
Okay.
And he said that in the Nigerian state that all senators are supposed to be equal.
Yeah.
But in the Nigerian state, they are not equal.
Yeah.
There are some senior senators.
Yeah.
And not everything I see has to go up.
Yeah.
That goes to show that there is corruption deeply rooted in the National Assembly. Then this man that is speaking up now, for me, I think that the cake did not get to him. That's what I think. That the cake, yes, did not get to him. And
Okay.
you cannot share that national cake, and you don't get to be there. Expect me to be quiet. That's why the man is speaking up now. So the corruption in this country is difficult in all the institutions, all. But in Nigeria, the Nigerian National Assembly is number one in Nigeria politics. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I've got Ida from Inkoro. Ida, welcome. What is in your mind? Yeah.
Normally call shut up money. You know that.
I don't know. You're telling me.
Now,
Okay.
into your hand, you will not talk.
Okay.
You will not get to that man's hand. Kalada, what are people doing with that money? People are not representing me in Okonkoro. Kalada, on the project, I've never seen anything that somebody that is representing me build and write his name. I build this thing when I'm representing people. Kalada is not there.
Okay.
So why are these people behaving like this? Nigerians are suffering. Look at the money they are collecting every day. They are just telling us we are representing them. Kalada, now if you want to vote, you will vote for. You give us our home back as my vote. They are taking me a lesson. They are coming to do a campaign. Give me my own. When we go there, collect our own job over here again.
All right.
That this people are doing is not good.
All right.
We have to judge them one day.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got Jude. Jude is calling from Omuma. Jude, welcome.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah, welcome.
It is said that an organization is as good or as bad as its leader or leaders.
Okay.
So that's what we're seeing at the Senate. Now, the man who made that allegation, the man from Banki, he made an allegation. The allegation was not investigated before he was punished.
No. Jaribe said that the appropriation committee chairman has given some kind of explanation as to where the money is or where the money is being spent. You know, it's under the GOE's Judiciary and National Assembly.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. He made an allegation at the floor of the Senate. That made them unhappy. So what I'm saying is, the Jaribe or whatever name you are calling him would have explained to Nigerians before punishing him, before suspending him. So if they had explained to Nigerians, we would have known GOV or whatever you say the amount will be found. So you don't have to punish somebody before the explanation. So that means for me, there's something they're hiding.
Okay.
Because they cannot even explain to us why some senators will get 500 million, so we get billion.
Billion, not million.
We get 200 naira. Can they explain to us? And then we are now talking about corruption. I know, and many Nigerians like me know, there's a bunch of corruption in that National Assembly, particularly this Senate. They shouldn't have suspended the man before explaining. I don't know whether they don't go to court. Otherwise, I would advise him go to court. What they're explaining now, what they're doing now, should have been explained to you and Nigerians, and not before giving you a definitive measure of suspending you for 3 months. That man has spoken our mind. So they have to tell us why some get 500, some get 200, some get 1 billion. Why?
Okay. All right then. My network is terrible. I'm trying my best to bring your way the sound to that what's it called now, to Jaribe during plenary yesterday when he was talking. But my network is terrible. How do I do this now? Because I really want you to hear for yourself, for those of you who are yet to listen. Okay, I think I'm getting close to it, so just give me a minute there. I read some messages now after I play the video, if the network would allow me, if the network would permit me. Let's see, I'm getting close. All right. Since the network is really terrible, so I guess we would maybe leave that for another. Maybe during the open season, network will be better, and I'll be able to play the sound bite for you, or just maybe the network will do me some good right now. Let's see.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished colleagues. Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Operations spoke. It was as clear as crystals that there was a misunderstanding of the figures. When he came up with the GOEs and all the agencies on first line charge, there is no difference between the figure he reeled out and the figure purported to be padded. I thought with that matter would have been rested by Senator Ningi, saying that this 3-point-something trillion was not part of the budgetary provisions printed out for us. That would have settled this matter. We are going forth and back on these issues and coming up with issues of the budget and individual issues concerning what came to our various constituencies. If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi.
I'm seeing about again. I knew I from where.
All right, that was plenary yesterday. All right, we'll talk about more of this, the open season. There's a commercial coming up. Well, before I go for that commercial, let's see messages poured in. This one says, as my network is terrible, so I'm struggling to get it done. Oh my, where is it now? As a Rivers man from the South, I was one of the persons praying for Akpabio to emerge as Senate president, as there was no better choice presented by APC. However, I would support for Akpabio to be impeached, as he turned out to be arguably and allegedly Senate president. Okay, let's leave it at that. Oriya man, thank you very much for your message. I've really got to go for now. After the 6 o'clock news, I'll come back and we'll look at this issue again. I'll play the soundbite. Maybe my network will be better at the time, and we'll talk about this and talk about all the angles once again, and look at the possible front pages for tomorrow. One possible front page story for tomorrow would be the reaction of the governor to his critics, would be the president saying there will be no ransom payment for abducted students in Kaduna. We could also look at some of the story. The remains of SP Bakwang Bashim found by the police. This and many more. To stay tuned.